If you lost your job tonight, how many days could you last before you started to panic? 3 a.m. I am lying perfectly still, wide awake, staring at the ceiling. Emily is turned away, sleeping. And in the other room, if Liam coughs even once, I pop right up. What surprises me is, I am not worried about the big, dramatic stuff. I am worried about the small things that can flip our entire month upside down. The car breaking down, my laptop dying right when I need it for work, or a sudden medical bill. I have failed hard with money before. One time, I swiped my card to buy a laptop so I could earn more. It sounded logical, but I did not understand the interest rate. I paid every month, and somehow the balance just sat there, refusing to budge. Lesson learned. When you do not have an emergency fund, you borrow in a panic and end up chaining yourself to interest. Another time, my car threw a check engine light. I ignored it because I did not have a few $100s. I kept putting it off, and then it turned into a much bigger problem. By the time I fixed it, it cost several times more. I have noticed this pattern. The less money you have, the easier it is to make expensive decisions. From what I understand, when money gets tight, your brain switches into danger mode. Cortisol goes up, risk feels bigger than it really is, and then decision fatigue kicks in, and you start choosing wrong over and over. Emily just sighs. Are you calculating again? And all I can think is, if something happens tomorrow morning, how are we supposed to make this work? Having an emergency fund means having calmness. Okay, let us be blunt. The first real game-changing milestone is not $100,000, and it is definitely not $1 million. It is $10,000 in savings. I know that still sounds huge to a lot of people, but it feels huge because it creates something very specific. Breathing room. With $10,000 in your account, you do not magically turn into someone who spends like a baller. You still think things through. You still do the math. But the feeling in your body is completely different. You are not living like one bad break and I am done. You start making decisions like someone who has options, not someone backed into a corner. And here is the part that surprises people. 10,000 is not there for you to buy stuff. It is calm. If that line hits you, hit like and subscribe, so I can keep this series going on money milestones like this. Before I had $10,000, my life felt like playing a game where I was stuck in defense mode all the time. Going to the grocery store was a math problem. I would stand in front of the cereal shelf, my eyes on the better box, but my hand reaching for the cheaper one, running the numbers in my head. If I grab this, will I still have enough to put gas in the car tonight? Sometimes Emily just wanted us to go out for one meal so we could breathe, and I would make up some excuse like, I am not really hungry, when the truth was, I was scared that a $25 to $30 dinner would throw the whole week's budget off. And then there were these tiny little things that made me feel stretched to the limit. An email about a late fee, a call from the insurance company, that single beep from the card reader when you swipe at the checkout counter. I felt like, when you are living paycheck to paycheck, every decision comes with this sense of danger. The hardest part, from what I understand, is not just having less money. It is not having a sense of safety. And when you do not feel safe, all you can do is try to hold it together, and you do not have the energy to think any farther ahead. And then comes the twist that people rarely say out loud. The biggest benefit of $10,000 is not what you can buy with it. It is the fact that you do not have to touch it. Just knowing it is there is enough to calm your brain down. From what I understand, when you have a cushion, your sense of risk naturally drops. You stop seeing everything like a disaster waiting to happen. The check engine light comes on. Before, my heart would pound, my hands would go cold, and my brain would start doing frantic math. But once you have a fund, You are still annoyed, but you handle it like a normal person. You call the repair shop, you book an appointment, and you move on. And what surprised me is, a lot of people build up $10,000 and do not even spend it for fun. They spend it on opportunity, taking a class, switching jobs, or honestly, just sleeping better at night. Now we get to the best part, the domino effect of $10,000. It is not just money. It is a switch. First is psychology. When you do not have a cushion, your body is more likely to overreact to small things. From what I have seen, money stress pulls you into this high alert state, like you are always bracing for the next hit. You might not even notice it, but your cortisol and your heart rate react like you are in real danger. The result is you sleep worse, you get irritated more easily, and your mind feels tired all the time. Then it spills into behavior. This is decision fatigue. Every day you have to make dozens of money-related choices. Do you buy the cheaper option or the better one? Do you eat out or cook? Do you pay this bill first or that one first? By nighttime, you have nothing left in the tank. And when the tank is empty, you tend to choose the worse option. You swipe the card because it is faster, you procrastinate, or you buy something to blow off steam and then regret it. When you have $10,000, a lot of those survival-level decisions disappear. You do not have to strain your brain 50 times a day. You choose based on priorities, not fear. It sounds simple, but it frees up energy for bigger moves, learning a skill, finding a better job, or starting a side hustle. Next is relationships. The biggest fights Emily and I had were not about whether we loved each other. They were about money. When you are less tense, the way you talk changes immediately. You listen more. You get less defensive and less on edge. Liam feels it too. The whole house gets lighter, and he is happier, because kids pick up on emotions fast. Finally, it is your career. Having an emergency fund gives you financial leverage when you negotiate. You walk into interviews without that "please hire me" energy. You feel comfortable asking about salary, asking for benefits, and saying, "Give me a few days to think it over." And that confidence creates a positive loop. Better decisions lead to better opportunities, which brings money in faster. $10,000 does not make you rich. It gives you options. Let me be honest, I was not the kind of person who was born knowing how to save. I did the exact wrong thing that a lot of people do. I went way too extreme. For 2 months, I cut everything. No eating out, no buying anything, living like a robot. The result? Burnout. By the 3rd month, I snapped and went on a spending spree, even harder than before. And the weird part is, I thought I was being disciplined, but really, I was squeezing myself so hard that my brain had to blow off steam just to keep going. Lesson: saving that is not sustainable is basically a crash diet. You do it for a bit, and then you end up right back where you started. The second mistake hurt even more. I used credit cards to buy time because I did not have an emergency fund. A small car repair bill, I swiped the card just to get it over with. Then another swipe for something around the house, then another one to cover a medical expense for Liam. Suddenly, I had a pile of small charges. Each one was not huge, but together, they were choking me every month. And honestly, it makes me mad to think about. Because that is when I finally got it. When you do not have an emergency fund, you are basically borrowing money to buy temporary peace of mind. From where I sit, the hardest part is not the $10,000. The hardest part is becoming the kind of person who always holds something back for the future, even if it is a small amount. And once you change that identity, everything starts to feel lighter. So how do you go from random loose change in your balance to $10,000 without making your life miserable? I did it in 3 steps, and they are very down to earth. Step 1. Start small. $25 a week is fine. From what I understand, your brain needs small wins to believe, I can do the big thing. Do not wait until you have extra money to start saving, because there will always be a reason that extra money disappears. Step 2. Build a system. Do not rely on willpower. I set up an automatic transfer right after payday, sending money straight into a separate bank account called emergency. Not mixed in, not just for now. And I set one rule. I only use it when it is truly an emergency, not when I just want a break. Step 3. Optimize 2 to 3 big expenses instead of obsessing over every cup of coffee. For me, it was car insurance, my phone plan, and a bunch of random subscriptions. If you cut $20 to $30 from each one, that adds up into real savings. Then you just scale it up over time. 25 becomes 50. 50 becomes 100. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. And here is what I want you to remember. $10,000 does not turn you into a rich person. It turns you into someone who is less afraid. When you have a cushion, you sleep deeper. You talk to Emily more gently, and you walk into work with a different posture. Not because you are better than anyone, but because you are not backed up against the wall anymore. From what I understand, breathing room in your finances is the foundation of every good decision. You stop chasing every bill. You start having choices. And that feeling is worth more than any item you could ever buy. If this video helped you see it more clearly, hit like and subscribe so I can keep making this series on other money milestones. And for you, if you woke up tomorrow with exactly $10,000 set aside for emergencies, what is the first decision you would make differently? Drop it in the comments and tell me. $10,000 saved is calm you can carry in your pocket.